This is your 28storms.com tropical weather update for Monday, November 14th. With just over 2 weeks left in hurricane season 2011, it is no surprise that the tropics are generally quiet. However, we will continue to be monitoring this broad area of low pressure currently situated over the southern half of Honduras. The latest shortwave infrared animation shows that much of the Gulf, Caribbean, and Western Atlantic are quiet, although we do have some isolated convection here over the north central Atlantic, but this is more so non-related to anything tropical. And meanwhile, we still have this broad area of low pressure beginning to move into the eastern Pacific, where conditions really aren't all that terrible. And if anything is going to form out of the Atlantic or eastern Pacific within the next 7 days, it will be from this broad low. As of right now, it looks like the upper level winds to the south of Mexico are generally favorable, but the biggest inhibitor against development will be some of that dry air currently in place. The latest 12Z run of the Canadian CMC shows this low steadily working its way into the eastern Pacific, where there will be some potential for development, and by day 6 it's still located well to the south of Mexico. And you may also notice this broad area of vorticity at 850 millibars located just to the north of Puerto Rico. This is a fairly suspect looking system, and it's more than likely going to be a mistake by the CMC model. The latest 18Z run from the GFS shows nothing of the sort out here in the central Atlantic, but one thing that the CMC and GFS both have in common is the broad area of low pressure in the eastern Pacific. In fact, by day 6 and day 7, the GFS shows a stronger system than what the CMC is indicating, so this just adds a little bit more validity to the idea that if anything is going to form, it's going to be to the south of Mexico. And as we noted yesterday, the only reason why we have any potential for eastern Pacific development is the fact that much of the Gulf of Mexico is being dominated by mid-level ridging, and that is allowing for the mid-latitude westerlies to remain well to the north, and so therefore we have a very small pocket of favorable upper-level winds aloft just to the south of that upper-level ridge, and the GFS is forecasting overall some fairly favorable conditions for tropical development down there for at least the next 6 days. Last but not least, this is the 12Z run of the ECMWF model, and as alluded to just a moment ago, much of the Gulf of Mexico is being dominated by mid to upper level ridging, and as we go into 24, 48, and 72 hours, there's really not that much in the way of any change in the pattern, and we see that the surface pressures over the eastern Pacific are continuing to lower, although not by a whole lot. And then as we go into day 4, day 5, and day 6, the system is actually showing a little bit of sign of organization, much like the GFS was indicating by that general time frame, and the rest of the deep tropics are forecast to remain generally calm. By day 7, we do have an area of low pressure trying to get its act together near the Virgin Islands. However, it does have a better chance of being non-tropical in nature, and either way, as we go into days 8 through 10, it is going to be picked up by the mid-latitude westerlies, and it will be sent toward the northeast away from land. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel with only a couple of weeks left. There's really not much on the horizon so far based on what we are looking at. Again, if anything, we may see some eastern Pacific development, but it should be relatively minimal, and it very well could stay just offshore. So we're looking fairly good out there this evening in the tropics. We will have another video update by Tuesday afternoon.